Welcome to the class 11 students. This is the continuation part of the chapter cell structure and function. In my previous video, I have discussed with you the ultrastructure types and functions of endoplasmic reticulum. I hope you have understood everything till this point. Now, I am going to continue with the next cell organelle, which is ribosome. So you have previously learned or even heard about ribosome. You have learned about ribosome in class 9 only, but in class 11 you have previously learned about ribosome while discussing endoplasmic reticulum, especially rough endoplasmic reticulum, where I said that the ribosomes are present on the surface of the cisternae of the endoplasmic reticulum, which makes the surface rough, and thus those types of endoplasmic reticulum are known as RER. Okay, basically rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now going into the details of ribosome. First, talking about the definition. The definition says the minute spherical structures of the ribonucleoprotein present either freely in the cytoplasm. So let's note where the ribosomes may be found. They are found freely scattered in the cytoplasm, or they may be present in the matrix of mitochondria and chloroplast, or they may remain attached on the outer membranes of endoplasmic reticulum and nucleus. So basically there are 5 possible locations of endoplasmic reticulum. Firstly, freely scattered in the cytoplasm. Second, matrix of mitochondria. Third, matrix of chloroplast. Fourth one is outer membrane of cisternae, and last one is outer membrane of the nucleus. Okay. Now, before going into the structure of ribosomes, first let me tell you that there are 2 types of ribosome. Okay. One is the 70S ribosome and the other one is the 80S ribosome. The 70S ribosome is found in prokaryotic cells and the 80S ribosomes are found in eukaryotic cells. I have written in short. Okay, so 70S are found in prokaryotic, 80S are found in eukaryotic. Now you might ask me, what is S? This S is nothing but Svedberg. In online class also I have told you this is a Svedberg constant, a Svedberg unit, which is basically the sedimentation coefficient. Now let's go into the structure of ribosomes, then you can understand the 70S, 80S and their detailed structure better. Okay. Ribosomes can be of 2 types. One is prokaryotic ribosome, which is 70S. Another is eukaryotic ribosome, which is 80S. Okay. So what is the difference between these 70S and 80S? As you can see, in 70S there are 2 subunits. In both of them there are 2 subunits. Okay. First we are talking about prokaryotic ribosome, that is 70S. So the 2 subunits are, one is 50S, which is a larger subunit, and the other one is a 30S, which is a smaller subunit. So if we add 50S and 30S together, what we will get? We will get 80S, right? But here we are getting 70S. So where are we losing 10 units? You can see the smaller unit is a bit within the larger unit. As you can see in this picture, in the book also you have a picture similar to this, you can see there as well. So the smaller unit is located, a part of the smaller unit is located within the larger unit. Okay, and there about 10 units of the smaller subunit is getting lost. So from the outside we are getting 70S and not 80S. Okay, moving on to the eukaryotic ribosome. Again, the larger subunit is 60S and the smaller subunit is 40S. So 60 plus 40, we should be getting 100S, a total eukaryotic ribosome of 100S, but what we are getting is 80S. Why? Again the same thing. The smaller subunit is located a bit within the larger subunit. Here you can see that the smaller subunit is a bit inside the larger subunit, where about a portion of about 20 units are getting lost, and thus we are getting 80 S and not 100 S. Okay, so I hope this classification of ribosomes according to sedimentation coefficient S, okay, as I said that this S is the sedimentation coefficient. It is also known as Svedberg constant or unit. Okay, and according to that, the ribosomes are of two types: prokaryotic ribosome, which is 70S, and eukaryotic ribosome, which is 80S. So now that we have discussed about the structure of ribosome, the different types of ribosome, 70S and 80S, let's talk about its function. Basically, the function of ribosome, the main function of ribosome is protein synthesis. You all know this. Okay, so ribosomes, as you all know, that they are present, they may be present in many parts of the cell, like they may be scattered in the cytoplasm, they may be present on the nucleus or the endoplasmic reticulum. So all these positions, their main function everywhere is to synthesize protein. And the second function that you will find in your book is ribosomes help in the metabolism of fat, means the breakdown of fat. Okay, so these are the two main functions of ribosome. Now after ribosome, let's move on to lysosome. So you all know that lysosomes are known as suicidal bags, right? They are known as suicidal bags. Why? Because lysosomes are those cell organelles, and they are mainly found in animal cell. Okay, and they contain some hydrolytic enzymes or digestive enzymes within them, which will come out, or the lysosome will burst open, and the digestive enzyme will come out of the sac of lysosome, and it will digest the whole cell and also its surroundings. So when does it happen and why does it happen? In class 9 also you have learned about lysosome, that when the cell is beyond repair, that is, it cannot be repaired anymore, the cell then understands that it's time to kill itself. So how will the cell do that? The cell will means give information to the lysosome, means the lysosome will understand that now it's time to burst open and release the digestive juices to digest the cell and its surroundings. Okay, so from lysosome, if you learn this part only, why they are known as suicidal bags, justify that they are known as suicidal bags, what is their main function, this is all about lysosome. Okay, so from lysosome you don't have to read the structure and all that. There is no particular structure of lysosome. They are just a sac containing certain enzymes. Moving on to the function of lysosome, intracellular digestion, extracellular digestion, all are obviously parts of digestion only. Liberation of energy, and secretion of hormone. These are the different main functions of lysosome. So go through the functions of lysosome and why lysosomes are known as suicidal bags. I'll give the notes along with the video. Okay, the next cell organelle that you have is vacuole. So let's clear this up. Vacuole. Okay, so previously this one also you have read. Vacuoles are basically found more in number and larger in size in plant cells, and in animal cells they are smaller in size and also few in number. Now what is their main function? They are used for storage purpose mainly. Reading from the book, the definition: single membrane bound. They are single membrane bound, space containing air, water, cellular fluid, digested food, excretory material, etc., found mainly in plant cells and protozoa, are known as vacuoles. So from vacuole, the most important question is their function. So depending on the different types of vacuole, there are means 5 separate functions of vacuole. First one is the food vacuole, that means it stores food. Second one is the water vacuole. In your book only will find, here in your book it is, third one is the water vacuole. Third one is excretory vacuole, means all the excretory substances are stored here. Fourth one is the gas vacuole, some gases are stored here. Okay. And fifth one is the contractile vacuole. So these are the different functions of vacuoles, and accordingly the vacuoles are of 5 types. Okay, now moving back, significance or function of vacuole was the last topic under vacuole. Moving back to the ultrastructure of vacuole, you will find two terms, tonoplast and primordial utricle. Tonoplast, this also you have, all these things you have learnt in class 9. Tonoplast is basically the membrane of the vacuole. Okay, see, point number 3 under ultrastructure, at the outer margin of the vacuole, the membrane that separate the cytoplasm and cell sap is known as tonoplast. So the membrane covering the vacuole, which separates the cell sap which is within the vacuole, the watery fluid within the vacuole, and the cytoplasm, separates these two, that membrane is known as tonoplast. Okay, and the other term is primordial utricle. So primordial utricle is that condition when the vacuole within a plant cell is so big, you will find the picture in your book, figure number 6.36, that the vacuole of the cell is so big that it has pushed the cytoplasm and the nucleus towards the periphery, and it has consumed about 98% or 95%, 95 to 98% space within the cell. So that condition where the cytoplasm and the nucleus is pushed towards the periphery and only the vacuole is there is known as primordial utricle. So these are 1 or 2 marks question, and also then there is the function or types of vacuole. Okay, in the next video I'll start with plastid. You have 3 types of plastid and we will continue from there. Okay, thank you.